So, welcome back to the Prescription Travel MD podcast. I'm Dr. Courtney Downes, and so glad that you've tuned in. Whether you're listening to the podcast or watching us on YouTube, thank you for being here as we bring you everything you need to travel more and to do it better. Today's episode is such a special one because I get to sit down with someone I not only admire professionally, but also personally, Dr. Heather Bacala. She is truly the queen of pivot. Let me tell you, she's a wife, a mom, an OB-GYN physician who has built a life and a career on her own terms. Heather is a total superstar, balancing medicine and family and entrepreneurship, all while sharing my level of travel, freedom, and intentional living. So you're in for a real treat because in this conversation, we're going to dive into everything from how she makes travel and life work as a busy OB with 3 kids, involving the extended family, to the wild story of how she salvaged the trip after realizing that her passport had expired, planning all these big group adventures. So this episode is full of wisdom and laughter and inspiration, and I am so excited to get into it. So let's go. So thank you so much for being with us here today, Heather. I'd love for people to get to know exactly who you are. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about your background?
Hi, thanks, Gertie. So I am an OB-GYN in Las Vegas. I have lived here, oh my gosh, we're coming on 9 years. I'm originally from Minnesota, so I grew up in northern Minnesota, but we did our residency in Michigan, and then we relocated back to Vegas because that's where my husband's family's from, so we're a little bit closer to his family and the cousins. I have 3 kids who are all about to have birthdays, so I'll try to get it right. Currently are 8, 9, and 11, and they go to school here. We just had a middle schooler, so that is new for us. So we're doing 2 school drop-offs currently, which has been fun and challenging.
Oh, sure.
But no, I just usually am with my kids at their practices, busy working or traveling.
Yes. So I think that's putting it very lightly. I know that you are a very busy small business owner. Your husband, who I actually knew back in middle school, which we discovered randomly through a mutual friend, is also a small business owner. And you've got 3 very active kids, one of which who is soon to be Olympian.
She's remain, yes.
And so I know you stay very busy. So one of the things that I wanted to touch upon today is how it's possible for you to still live this amazing life. You're always traveling, but you're always on the go and you're still trying to manage all these things that are required to run a small business successfully, which I think a lot of people may find challenging. I know it gives me palpitations just listening to listening to myself say all these things. So how do you do it?
I would say we outsource. We outsource a lot. I feel like our small businesses allow us to do a lot of our traveling. So we get to put a lot of our business expenses on our credit cards. And, thanks to your help, we now have the right credit cards. So we're really maximizing those points. So most of our travel is done off of points, which makes it just so much more, I don't know, just more like easy, like more available, like we're just able to. The small business is challenging is that we're working and we're doing a lot. I have now grown. So I started with just myself initially in 2020, very quickly added a partner. And since then, we've hired several nurse practitioners, midwives, and now we currently stand at 9 physicians and 1 nurse practitioner, several nurses, and a bunch of staff. So I have a really, really great team. Before, it was a little bit more difficult to travel when it was just myself. By having like this amazing like network of other doctors that I trust has allowed me to like leave and travel. I feel like COVID was really helpful for medicine as far as like a work away from home kind of standpoint. That's when telemedicine was introduced, at least to my practice. Patients really loved it. So I do still utilize a lot of telemedicine. I don't know if we're going to touch on it, but this summer I was able to travel and be away for 2 weeks, like working remotely out of Kauai, just doing telemedicine, which was awesome. So I still was working, but I was able to, be away on a tropical island and not in Las Vegas when it was 120 degrees.
Right, right.
Yes, daily home life, I would say, yeah, it's very crazy. Like my husband does own his own small business too, so he does direct primary care. His hours and businesses operates a little bit differently, which gives him some more freedoms with some things and less freedoms in other ways. But we do. Like I think the trick of it was I was trying to do everything. Like I would come home, I would cook, I would clean, I'd bring the kids everywhere, and it just wasn't working. Like we weren't able to do anything extra or anything fun. And I was probably constantly cranky and annoyed. Probably not super fun to be around all the time because I was just so tired. And then we just had to like really prioritize like, hey, what are we okay spending money on? Because now we're saving money on travel. So that money I was utilizing before for plane tickets, like I can use for a housekeeper. So instead of, me spending my Saturdays cleaning the house from, top to bottom, I'm able to tidy up at night, but have a housekeeper come once a week and do all the major cleaning. We have 2 amazing nannies that help us, like, in morning and the evening, and so one of them does, like, all the things that I hate. So the first one comes and she unloads the dishwasher, she puts the new dishes in, which is, like, my, like, most dreaded task. But she also helps deal with, like, all the morning craziness, like getting the kids ready, getting their hair brushed, getting their lunches packed, getting them in the car, and getting them to school. I have a pretty early start, so that's extremely helpful. And then we have another amazing nanny that comes after school, and she comes a little bit early and does all my laundry, which I also hate. And so my laundry is done, the house is tidied up. She picks up the kids, and then from there, between the 3 of us, like, we organize who is dropping off and who is picking up where because it becomes a little bit of a puzzle. So we Tetris style it, and then we kind of, like, end up at all the practices and then come home and somehow make it home for dinner, which sometimes I cook, and last night it was Taco Bell.
I love that great summary. So, at what point did you decide that, me doing all these things on my own isn't going to work? Because I think as women physicians, like, we do try to do it all. And yeah, at some point you decided, I can outsource these things and make my life easier and make my life better. But it sounds like you didn't start that way. So, what was the turning point for you?
I would say probably about, like, 6 months to a year into, like, private practice when I was still by myself, and it was just, like, utter chaos, and I was up till 2 a.m., like, finishing, like, packing the kids' lunches and doing the laundry and cleaning the house, and then I was, like, annoyed with my husband because he didn't understand, like, magically, like, his man brain didn't think, like, "Oh, the kids need lunches," like, so I feel like as a woman, I think we're just kinda constantly organizing all these things in our brains, doctor's appointment, dentist appointments, and all the things, and sometimes, like, my partner is helpful, but I feel like he needs a little bit more instruction sometimes, and then I think as a woman, that also frustrates us. So I just felt like, "Hey, there has to be a better way, like, we can't survive like this." It was my daughter's birthday party, and I actually had to sneak out of her birthday for a delivery, and so I didn't have any backup call at that time, and someone was having a baby, and they come when they come, and we had a party at our house with all her friends over, and luckily my mom was great, and she covered for me, and, I live close to the hospital, and I snuck out, had a delivery, and came on back, but I was like, "Hey, look, there has to be a better way." Like, what is most important to me? I love my work, I love my family, but is there a way I can love both of them? And so I really had to figure out, like, what things do I not love? And so that was where I was like, "Okay, I don't love laundry. I don't love cleaning the toilets. I don't love unloading the dishwasher. Like, is there a way I can find someone to help me with these things?" Like, when are we fighting the most? When are we arguing the most? Like, the mornings were always the worst time in our house, I think, because I was, like, getting ready. I had to leave quickly. I had deliveries. My mornings are never predictable, especially when I was on call 24/7. Sometimes I needed to leave at 7. Sometimes I needed to leave at 5:55. And so that would be frustrating to my husband because he's very scheduled. Like, his schedule is always the same. He wakes up at the exact same time. He exercises at the exact same time. And so when things go, like, a little bit off scale for him, like, he not great at pivoting, where, like, I feel like my life is an entire pivot. I think that's the life of an OB-GYN is just pivot, pivot, pivot. And so I was like, "Hey, I think if we had someone that we trusted that could come here in the morning and help with, like, this chaos, it would take so much off both our shoulders." And I mean, she is a godsend. Like, so I know her, she works in my clinic, she's been a staff member for a long time, she's a hustler, and she's amazing with children. She has, like, 5 side jobs, and so she was like, "Hey, let me, like, see if I can come and help you," and I was like, "Thank you so much." And I mean, I was giving my kids, like, Lucky Charms, and she makes them, like, homemade pancakes and, like, fresh eggs.
Can I borrow her?
Yeah, you can eat her on Fridays, that's the one day I don't eat her. Yeah, no, she's amazing, like, she's great.
Yeah. Well, I've officially labeled you as the queen of pivot because you are just remarkable in terms of being able to pivot in life situations, travel situations. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of your travel adventures. You mentioned your recent trip to Kauai. So while we were in Kauai, you were already there, and so it was really cool because then we got to link up and the kids got to hang out, and our daughters knew each other. They were in preschool together, and then we met up again at a party recently, so, the kids kinda knew each other, and they got the chance to hang out, so that was a lot of fun. So, tell us a little bit about, what inspired that trip to Kauai and a little bit about how you planned it.
I'm probably not the best person to give advice on, like, planning. I am the most last minute planner. Like, I know I have vacation. I know when my vacation is scheduled because I make the schedule for the year for all the physicians. So I can tell you when all my vacation blocks are. I just am really bad about planning things in advance. And I don't know why. Like, I can't decide where I want to be, who I want to be with, and what we want to be doing until, like, that moment is happening. Like, I am the type of person, like, my sister is the complete opposite. So my sister will plan vacations for us and she will send an itinerary and it's beautiful. It's made on Canva and it's, like, color coded, labeled, time by time. The reservations are made for all the restaurants. And I, like, won't lie, like, it is nice, like, I know exactly where we're gonna be, like, we never turn up and have nothing to eat, it's great, it's fantastic. But I'm like, "What if we just wanna hang out at the beach a little bit longer?" Like, I don't wanna have to, like, get up if I'm in the middle of a really good spot in my book or the kids are, like, having the best time in the waves, like, I don't wanna be like, "Okay, we have to go, it's time to eat dinner." Like, I'm just like, I just want it to be a little bit more fluid, and so I, like, also plan very fluidly. So the summer was a little bit of a disaster, like, I knew I had time blocked, I had 2 weeks of telemed and a week of vacation, so I had a nice, like, 3-week chunk. I had a lot of family, like, I wanted to visit, I wanted to travel initially with my parents, but my dad's health is getting kind of up and down, so we were kind of waiting to see, like, would he be able to travel, would he not be able to travel? Where would he wanna travel to? He also is like me where he does not know until the last minute, and so between all of us, it was a little frustrating, so I think we were, like, 2 weeks away from the vacation, like, my time off, and I was like, "Hey, look, like, we need to go somewhere. Like, I'm not staying in Las Vegas. I had this time, like, all my appointments have already converted to telemed, like, 6 months ago." And so I was like, "This is the plan. Whoever wants to come can come, and whoever doesn't wanna come, like, that's fine. I'm gonna be there with my kids in Kauai doing telemed." So I don't know if have you used Red Week, Courtney?
I have never used it, but I heard about it. I looked at into it when we were looking at Hawaii and, like, Disney, so
Yes, yeah, so typically, like, I do like to book on points, but being 2 weeks away, like, the point options were a little bit limited for, like, where I wanted to be. So Red Week is a really great platform. I have also heard about it a lot before I used it. I was a little bit nervous. It sounded a little bit too good to be true, but it's all these people that have, like, these timeshares that now, they've gotten stuck into timeshares. That's a whole probably another conversation. But they are paying the fees, and they have a week, and they can't use it, and they wanna offload it. And so the closer this works out in my favor, the closer you are to that week, the cheaper it gets because they can't use it, and they just really wanna get rid of it for any fee so they can at least cover something that they paid. And so if you type in any location, like, that has, like, timeshares, there's so many options that pop up. So, like, we found one at Princeville, at their Hilton that's up there? It was gorgeous. We had a two-bedroom villa on the beach with all the amenities. And for a week's stay, I wanna say with tax, it was $1,600. And when I went to book a room because we were coming a day before, so the caveat with Red Week too is that they go in week increments. So it's like a Friday to a Friday or a Saturday to a Saturday. Like, sometimes you can find 5 days, but you have to be very flexible with your days. And so, obviously, I'm not always that either. And so, like, we booked a Saturday to a Saturday, but I was arriving on a Friday, and so I was like, "Let me just add on an additional night. I'll go through the hotel and book directly," and it was $1,800 for 1 night. So we got the entire week for less than 1 night stay. Needless to say, I ended up, like, booking a cheaper long kayak, and it was fine, so we stayed somewhere else the first night we arrived in Kauai. My kids are super great travelers, so we travel a lot, so, like, we have a rule that we only bring carry-ons, and for a family of 5, we usually travel with 3 carry-ons. So we do pretty well, so it's really easy to, like, switch hotels.
hold on. You have to stop there. How do you pack how do you pack for a family of 5 and 3 carry-ons?
I mean, they bring a backpack, so that's, like, where they bring, like, any of their toys, like, we've been recently traveling without tablets, which actually has been great, but previously tablets, books, so now there's books, mini games. My daughter's 11, so she's into skincare, so whatever skincare can go through TSA, she packs in that backpack. Otherwise, like, I just bring clothes that are, like, we can mix match outfits, and I always book somewhere with a washer and dryer, and I just do laundry, and I just feel like it's so much better. I hate having a huge suitcase because it's hard to find a car that fits 5 of us with suitcases, like, it's annoying going through airports, having layovers, like, different hotels. I just feel like it's limiting with big suitcases.
Well, you know what? I think I need to do a special edition where I come to your house and watch you pack, and then we show people how a family of 5 with 3 small kids can pack into 3 carry-ons because that's definitely a sticking point for myself and for others.
We could definitely do it. We'll be filmed 45 minutes before I leave for the airport because that's also when I pack.
You're the best.
I am the worst. I'm the worst, like, last person, but, like, yes, so I pack everything right before we leave. I can't pre-pack, but my husband's suitcase will be packed a week before, so his 1 carry-on is ready to go. The other 2 with mine and the kids' stuff, yeah, it's 45 minutes before we leave for the airport, and you'll hear my husband in the background be like, "We have 30 minutes. Let's go." I'm like, "I'm coming." But it works. It always works. So anyway, so we ended up in Kauai. I booked 1 week there, and the second week down, like, in Poipu on the southern side of Kauai, which was nice. We got a variety of both. That one I even got, I think, for less, like, I don't remember if it was, like, 1,100, 1,200. It was very inexpensive, and it was great, and it was beautiful, and it happened to be close to your hotel, so it all worked out fantastically. And then we booked a week in Japan because we asked the kids, "Hey, where do you wanna go?" And they really wanted to go to Japan. We were warned from our Japanese friends that it is very hot in July. I did not take their advice, and they were right. It was way hotter than I've ever felt in my entire life, and I live in Las Vegas. So I would not advise Japan in July, but everything was cheap because of it. and we ate a lot of 40-cent smoothies because of it, and so it all worked out. Yeah, it was great.
42 smoothies. That's a thing?
It was. I mean, we pretty much just lived at 7-Eleven because I guess that will go back to me not making reservations, and the downfall is Japanese people like reservations, I do not. We couldn't eat dinner anywhere, so every meal almost was at 7-Eleven, and my kids loved that. They thought that was fantastic. They wanna go back to Japan just for the 7-Eleven.
Well, it's so funny because when you were leaving Kauai, like, a couple days before, we were getting ready to head back to Las Vegas, and then I decided that I should go to Japan too, and then I decided that it wasn't going to work because, 1, I didn't bring my passport because 'cause I'm like, "Well, we're traveling domestically," and then my husband was like, "Oh, I brought everyone's passports," and I was like, "Oh." And then I was, like, scheduled for, like, 4 more shifts, and I was like, "Nobody's gonna cover my shifts," and then I found my friend who has 5 kids who, like, I was like, "Let me just randomly ask her because sometimes she'll pick them up," but she also has 5 kids, so, she probably won't, and she was like, "Sure, I'll take your shifts," and I was like, "Okay, great." So now I have someone to take my shifts, and I have my passport, so I should just go ahead and book my ticket, and then I actually found, like, 3 business class flights to or back from Japan to Las Vegas, and I waited and I sat on them because I knew Chris couldn't go, and I was a little hesitant about that, but I was like, "You know what? Let's go." So we decided we were gonna go, and then I was like, "It's an 8-hour flight from Kauai to Japan, so let's just go ahead and book the flight." And then I started looking for the business flights back, and then that didn't work out, and then ultimately decided not to go, but for, like, 24 hours, I was just, like, on a high, like, "Hey, I'm going to Japan tomorrow." So, maybe that's how you feel all the time when you're planning your trips.
Yes, I would have loved that. It would have been, like, the most amazing trip, but yes, I do feel like we usually know where we're going a few weeks before we go, and it's exciting and it's fun. I mean, there's only been the one vacation where I ended up in a completely different destination, but it worked out. Everything was fine.
Yes, well, tell us about that.
Again, probably due to my poor planning. So I, like, check the passports. I make sure the passports are good to go. We were going to Tahiti. We've been there before, absolutely love it. We go to Maria and Bora Bora. I mean, my kids will tell you it's their favorite place in the world, and I would agree. Like, we need to probably see more places, but it's magical and it's amazing. Highly recommended for families. Anyways, so we were gonna bring my mother-in-law, we were gonna bring our, like, old, like, family friend, used to be our nanny many, many years ago, is, like, a still super close family friend. So she, like, came home from Utah to travel with us, and, like, they were both so excited, the kids were so excited, did my 45-minute pack, remembered the passports, had everything, got to the airport, and for whatever reason, like, it wouldn't let me check my flight in online, and I was like, "Well, maybe it's just because, like, it's international and I need my passport." And so we got to the Las Vegas airport, and, like, I was able to get all the kids checked in, but it wouldn't check mine in, and so, like, the agent came, and she's helping me, and she still can't figure out why it won't scan my passport, and she's like, "It's not expired, like, you have 3 months on it, it should be fine." And finally, like, after, like, the supervisor got called out, and I don't know if they, like, called Delta, I don't remember. It was, like, we were there for 30 minutes, and, shockingly, I do get to the airport on time, so I had a little bit of time to spare, which is interesting that I can do that. But it turns out, like, the rule for Tahiti was 90 days, it wasn't 3 calendar months, and so my return flight was 2 days prior to 90 days. And so we talked about me just flying back 2 days early. My husband said absolutely not. He didn't wanna be there with 3 kids, his mother, and the babysitter. And so my husband was like, "Well, I guess we're just gonna go home." And he, like, starts suitcase, like, back towards the car, and the kids are like,
I could just see Joe.
"Yeah, like, it's fine. We'll just stay home." And then the kids are crying, and I won't lie, like, I started tearing up, and I was like, "No, like, I just got off, like, a 24-hour shift. I was exhausted. Like, I was looking forward to this vacation. Like, Alexa's here from Utah. Like, we're finding a plane." And so the lady was, like, so nice at Delta. I think she felt really, really bad for me. And I just asked her, I was like, "Where else are you guys flying tonight that has a beach? Because that's the stuff we have in our suitcases, beach clothes." And she was like, "Have you ever been to St. Croix?" And I was like, "No, let's book it." And in the moment, I, like, didn't even know where St. Croix was because I was just so panicky. And I was like, "Sure, I don't need a passport." And she's like, "No, it's a US territory." I'm like, "Perfect, perfect." And, like, luckily, she was able to transfer all our flights. Like, we didn't have to pay, like, an insane amount of extra money. Like, it all worked out flight-wise. I think we, like, ended up with, like, a very little baby credit. Um, and my husband is, like, panicking as we're going through security because the flight leaves in, like, an hour and a half, and he's like, "Where are we gonna stay? Like, what are we gonna drive to the hotel? Like, what are we gonna do there?" And I was like, "Well, luckily, we have lounge access because of our credit card." So we went to the Amex Lounge, or the Centurion Lounge, and the kids all ate, and we're watching TV, and I just, like, mad booked a bunch of hotel rooms, and I found a car, and honestly, the deals were fantastic because it was, like, in, like, 8-hour time period, and it was totally spontaneous, and the kids, I mean, besides Bora Bora, will say it's, like, their second favorite vacation. It was absolutely gorgeous. Like, have you been to St. Croix?
I haven't, but I feel like I need to go now.
You need to go. Like, it was very quiet, like, it was beautiful, like, the beaches are more beautiful than Hawaii. I mean, I love Caribbean food, so the food is delicious. I could eat rice and beans and plantains all day, and it was just, like, people are so nice there, and like I said, like, it's just the natural beauty was amazing, like, the water, everything is beautiful, and so we got there, we got a car, we got a hotel room, and then, like, day by day, we would just find things to do, and we had such a great time, and I like that because I like not having everything so planned anyway, so it was fine, and the people in Bora Bora, like, I was really stressed about that because that was, like, a big point spend for our, we had, like, an overwater bungalow, so and we had to have 2 of them because there were so many of us. They were really fantastic, and I had to, like, I mean, send some things from the airlines, which was a little bit annoying, but beyond that, like, they let me just rebook the rooms using the same amount of points, for spring break, which was awesome because that was actually a higher point value that time frame during spring break. But they gave me credit on both the rooms during spring break. So we were able to transfer all the hotel rooms. All like the little airline tickets I was able to cancel, they were refundable and our car was refundable. So like we really didn't lose much money, which was really fantastic because I was really nervous about like the point spend.
Wow. And you gained a new destination, and you still got to go to Bora Bora.
And we still went to Bora Bora in the spring, and then it worked out better because then not only did we travel with my mother-in-law and the babysitter, we ended up bringing my husband's, like, entire family, so his sister, like, his brother-in-law, their 2 kids, my other brother-in-law and his wife and their 2 twins, like, so there was, like, 15 of us in Bora Bora, and it was amazing. So it all worked out.
The mother-in-law and the babysitter made it to St. Croix, and they made it to Bora Bora as well.
Yes. So, like, the babysitter was fine, she was like, "I got 2 vacations out of this, this is amazing." So it worked out great. I was like, "We can't not bring her to the next one."
You can't. So if you need a babysitter next time, just remember I'm here. I'm right around the corner.
Willing to give up the children and come hang out with mine.
Yeah, let's go. Right.
We need to plan another family trip, actually. That was just fantastic. I love traveling with other families and other kids because I just like to relax, and, like, I feel like the kids just played, like, they were going down the water slides, they were on the lazy river, and we could just chat and, drink our pina coladas.
Yes, they had such a good time, and we did too. So
Yeah, I love that.
when are you going to Bora Bora again?
I think I'm going Thanksgiving.
Are you really?
Yeah, I think I mean, again, I have not yet booked it, but I think that is our plan. I have an October vacation I need to figure out first. So Joe's birthday's in October, and, we have not yet planned where we're going that yet.
And so when you're booking these trips, are you booking I know you mentioned you booking not very far out. Are you using your points and miles to book the flights, or how does that work for you?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. So we did like major point redemptions for Hawaii and Japan, which was awesome. Like we flew Delta One back, like, and it just like the lay down, amazing, beautiful seats from Japan. Like my kids are ruined forever. Like we just traveled to Minnesota and they're like, "What is this? Why are we in economy, mom?" I was like, "Cause it's a $99 flight. I'm paying cash." So yeah, I mean, like the points we used a lot of points for that trip because we did our flights from Vegas to Hawaii and then Hawaii to Japan and then Japan back to Vegas. But I mean, it was amazing. The flights were great. For a lot of the trips, I'll kind of search. I think the good idea, like, or the good thing about not having a destination is, like, all these search features now, like, let you search with no destination. Like, you'll just put in your days when you have off and that you wanna go, and you just leave the destination open, and it will, like, tell you all these locations and how many points it is. AI, I feel like, has been a good tool. I've been cheating a little bit with AI as well, just to kinda get some, like, general ideas, like what's available, like how many points it is, and then I'll like go to the website to book it like through Delta or through Hawaiian or whatever airline we're traveling. But I do feel like I get really good deals because of that, because like we're so open. Like I'm like, okay, I don't care if I end up in the Caribbean, I end up in Brazil, I end up in, Tahiti. Like I like beach vacations, as you can tell. I just want somewhere warm. So I feel like the last minute kind of is in our favor that way. If you're like very specific, like I want to go to the Maldives and I want to stay at this resort, I feel like it's probably not in your favor, but so far I've been pretty flexible.
And so what search engines are you using to book these flights or to find them?
Honestly, like I said, I'll usually honestly start on like AI, like so I'll start on like ChatGPT and just like put in like a prompt like, hey, I have points in like I have Amex points, I have these points, I have this points. Like I want to travel during this time. Like, is there any business class seats available to any of these destinations? Or like, what destinations would you suggest? So I search engine that just like last night for October, and it was like good travel places. I think they were giving me. They were actually the Virgin Islands came back up. There were some islands in the Caribbean. Brazil came up, which is why I was on my mind because I was telling my husband we should consider Brazil or Belize because those both came up as good point options for October. And then also I usually will start there. But honestly, even I will go to like kayak just to kind of get an idea what flight prices are because you can search like the everywhere option in kayak too. And so you just put in your starting flight location, your dates, and then just put like you can put anywhere, and then it will tell you and it'll give you prices for all the places. And I find that sometimes the points correspond with prices and sometimes they don't.
Yeah. The cash fares are can be amazing too. So yeah, don't forget that. You can go to Kayak, you can use some of these other search engines to find cash fares. When you're trying to book business class flights, oftentimes it's more reasonable. You get more bang for your buck if you're booking through points. So I did not realize that you could search through, Chat GPT and it would tell you, hey, these are your points options and you can go and search them. So once you put in that prompt, how do you turn that prompt into an actual trip? Like, is that how you booked your Delta One flights?
I mean, I feel like when I booked my Delta One, it was like me being like, "Hey, Courtney, ChatGPT said I can fly on Delta. What do I do?" And you were like, "Okay, go to Delta and put in the dates and see what pops up." And it like the points did. And then you helped me because I was searching like different airport connections to see if it was cheaper. So I actually like it was so last minute, I didn't think I was able to fly business. So I was just looking for economy. I just wanted to use their points. And so initially I had a layover in Minneapolis, and I think the round trip points were like it was still pretty pricey, it was like 60,000, and I was just from Japan in economy to, like, Minneapolis and then to LAX, and then for whatever reason, I think you're like, "Well, just for whatever reason, search business," and it was like 250,000 points or something stupid, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna we have 5 of us, like, that's not gonna work," and so then for whatever reason, I switched back to LAX, which initially the direct flight to LAX like, on economy was, like, way more than Minneapolis, like, it was much more expensive, but their first like, I went at 88,000 for economy to LAX, which is why I was looking at Minneapolis, and then when I switched it to, like, first class, it actually popped up that those ones were 109,000 points, and I was like, "What?" And so that's how we, like, pivoted, and then I ended up just booking from straight from Tokyo to LAX for 109,000 points each, so there's 5 of us, I mean, we used a little over 500,000 points, but I felt like it was a good redemption, and, Courtney will tell you I have, like, point anxiety, so I have millions of points.
That's like in millions of points that are sitting there waiting to be used.
Yes. Because I just am so afraid, like, I'm not getting as much like, I see these amazing deals, Courtney, that you get and everyone else on these travel blogs that I follow get, and so then I don't wanna use my points, like, I wanna save them for an amazing deal, and so then I just end up booking cash, but like I said, I can usually find some pretty cheap cash fares, and so then I don't know, and then I use a lot of points on my hotel rooms, so I feel like it all balances out. But I'm getting better. You're making me better at, like, just pulling the trigger, and I feel really good, like, even though it was a 500,000 points, like, I was like, "This is amazing." This, like, was such a great experience.
That's 5 people, 5 people, so that's totally worth it.
Yes. I feel like I probably coulda got a better redemption if I was you, and I would have searched all the sites, but, like, in the moment, like, it was great, and the kids were happy, and, like, we let like, the Delta One lounge was amazing, and, like, it was just great. It was a great like, the travel was almost as great as the destination.
Honestly, like, the best redemptions are the ones that make you feel that way.
Yeah.
The ones that make you feel like, I spent my points, but, like, look at all the things that we did and look at, like, the experience that I was able to share with my family, and, like, that's not bad. That's, like, not a bad deal at all. Like, if you told me that you spent, like, 500,000 points on, like, one person one way, then I'd be like, that's a little questionable." But, like, to spend that many points to get, again, 5 people in business class from Asia back to United States, that's remarkable. So, kudos to you for pulling that off.
Well, thank you for all your help, and I'm sorry for all, like, the 10 PM texts. Because of course, I'm never doing this, like, during business hours.
No, and I don't work during business hours either, so I'm sorry to all the people who actually sign up to book, like, awards strategy consultations, and they get these texts from me at, like, 2 a.m. I'm like, "Hey, found this really cool flight. I can get you to India for, 80,000 points." And they're like, "Huh?"
But that's, like, the best time, and then you wait, and the next day they're gone.
They're gone. Yep. You sleep and they're gone, which is what happened to my Japan flights, so
Ugh.
but I'll get there. Um, so you have been using points, you use some cash, you showed us some amazing ways to be able to find flights because I think that's a huge sticking point for people as well. Like, I have these points and I don't know what to do with them. But also just reinforcing that it's okay to pay cash for, and don't expect that you're going to always get this amazing redemption and that you're going to, like, points are going to be a way for you to spend $0 on your vacation. Points are an adjunct. I think it's a great way to extend the travel budget that you already have. So maybe if you're only taking 1 trip a year, now you can take 2 or 3 trips a year. And you can do it in style. So you can go and you get these award cards, and then you can use the, Centurion Lounge, and you can take your kids so that way they can eat and not buy expensive airport food and be in, comfortable surroundings and be able to sit there with your hour and a half to find your hotels while you're waiting at the gate. So I think all those things are so important and just amazing that you're able to do all these things. You had another story that you shared with me about another time when you were able to pivot when you went to Hawaii and you booked, an Airbnb that didn't quite turn out right. You wanna share that with us as well?
Yeah, I mean, we also, like, so I do a lot of point travel, like, so when it's, like, the 5 of us traveling, I feel like I'll use, like, my Marriott, my Hyatt rewards a lot, and like you said, like, I love the benefit of the reward travel as well. So, like, the lounges are amazing. Like, I feel like for the hotel brands, like, when you travel with your status, like, we were just at a Marriott this weekend when we were in Minnesota, and, like, you automatically get upgraded, and you get breakfast, and you get free parking, and so I feel like all those benefits, sorry, my dog is saying hello. I feel like all those benefits are so worth it. But, like, when we travel with, like, 14 or 15 of us, which we do probably 2 or 3 times a year, because we travel with, like, my husband's family or my family, usually an Airbnb is a better option for us, and the kids, like, enjoy it more too, because then, like, the kids are all, like, they're all in room with a bunk bed, and, like, they're all playing, and, like, life is a little bit easier for us. Like, I don't love the cooking and cleaning aspect of it, but I do like just the communal, like, living part of it is a little bit easier. And so we booked an amazing Airbnb, which we stayed at before in Maui. It's near the Hanukkah, and they have these, like, beautiful, like, multi-million-dollar units that they built, and they're, like, 3-bedroom villas, like, they're new, they're upgraded, they're amazing, we love them. So we actually booked through a different, I guess that was on Airbnb, but it was, like, a different travel person, property management company. And I told her, like, "Hey," like, at the time, like, we were traveling with my nephew and niece who were twins, but they were infants. They were less than a year old. And I think the property was for 12, but we had 14. And I said, "Hey, we have 14. We have 2 infant twins." And she was like, "Oh, not an issue. You can book it." And I said, "Okay, cool. Like, I see it comes with 1 pack and play. Can I get 2? Absolutely. I see it comes with 1 chair, high chair. Can I get 2? Absolutely." So, I mean, she was very well aware. And I have all these text messages saved. I'm, talking back and forth with her. And then she had texted me when we were at the airport, like, "Hey, just wondering your time of arrival. We're preparing the unit, getting it ready." And I was like, "Yeah, like, we are gonna be there at 1 PM. Like, the rest of the family's arriving at 5, and the family with the twins are not getting there till 6 PM. So, like, if you don't have the pack and place right away, that's fine." And she's like, "Wait, that I'm doing the math, and that's 14 people." And I said, "Yes, it's 12 plus the 2 infants that we talked about." And she's like, "I would have never approved this." And so I, like, screenshot her back the message where she said, "Absolutely, that is fine, no problem." And she's like, "I don't think I understood you. I'm sorry. Like, you won't be able to stay here. Only 12 of you can stay here." And I was like, "Look, I'm getting on an airplane," like, 'cause it was boarding as she's texting me this. And I was like, "I will call you when I land. Like, we need to stay there." And this is, like, right after, like, COVID, so things had just reopened and everything was booked and packed and busy. And, like, I mean, renting a rental car, like, we got a van and it was, like, $1,000,000. Like, so I was like, "Hey, look, like, there's not a lot of pivot options at this point." Like, and I'm, like, searching Airbnb, like, on Hawaiian airfare. Like, I can't talk to her, but I'm looking at all my options while I'm in the air, and there wasn't really much. So we land, and, she's absolutely crazy, which I've never experienced. Like, I usually have really good travel experiences and, like, great Airbnb like, I've never had an Airbnb issue. So we get to the property, and she's like, "I refuse to give you the keys until you show me a hotel key from another property. Like, you need to go book another hotel room for, like, the other 2 guests." And I was like, I can't, like, there's no other hotels." And so I searched, and there's literally 2 hotel options. One was Super 8, like, down on the other side of the island that was really far. And, I used to stay at Super 8 a lot. And now, like, ever since I used points, like, I can't stay at Super 8 anymore.
Yeah. My Travelodge days are over too, so yes, understand.
Yeah, my children, I don't know what they wouldn't be able to handle it. So we ended up at the Ritz-Carlton, which we had never stayed at the Ritz before, 'cause it's always been like a little bit more of a spend than I've been willing to do. I mean, it was gorgeous. Like, it was fantastic. Like, they knew our name the moment we walked in and gave us fresh cookies. Highly recommend the Ritz-Carlton in Maui, a beautiful property. There was, like, a little boy, like, walking around with, like, a sweater on his shoulders, and, like, my kids are, like, touching everything and, like, slobbering all over everything like the animals that we are. And this little boy with this, like, sweatshirt was like, "Mom, like, this is the ugliest Ritz that I have ever seen." And my kids were like, "Whoa, this place is amazing." And I was like, "Oh my god, should we take a picture of this beautiful vase?" Like, and so, yeah, I don't know if it's, like, always like, if we necessarily fit in at the Ritz. We might not be their typical clientele, but it was an amazing stay, and I had booked it on my Amex, and so I disputed the charges for the Airbnb, and I, like, sent them all the information, and so the rest of my family stayed at the Airbnb. Like, we would go there, like, the kids actually stay there, so it actually worked out great. Like, we left all the children there with all the cousins and the rest of the family, and then the 2 adults couldn't stay there. So me and my husband every night would go back to our Ritz room by ourselves. So we it was really horrible. We
Sure you didn't plan that?
Yeah, it's really rough. I cried every night. It was really, really sad. But yeah, so it worked out, and we would, like, have dinner there. We'd hang out as a family there, and then, just, sadly go back alone.
Crying in your mojito.
Yeah, have our solo mojitos and our solo quietness, with our solo alone time. And then I would, so I messaged everything to, like, Amex, like, to dispute the charges for the Airbnb, and they actually refunded me the entire cost of the Airbnb. Amex did. They were fit like, the customer support was fantastic. I mean, it took, like, several weeks to get it worked out, but they had agreed with me, and so they took the money back. They, like, charged the property management company, and they said that she was at fault because she had everything through text messages saying we could stay there.
Wow. Talk about a great outcome.
Yes. I mean, my husband may not like, it was great, like, it ended up being great, but, like, when we were, like, in air, like, the panic in his face, he was like, "We're gonna sleep in the car. Like, we're gonna be camping." And I'm like, "At least it's warm, like, we'll be fine. At least we're not in Alaska, like, we can sleep in the car, it will be okay."
I can just imagine these conversations.
Yeah, I mean, like, he is, like, always, like, I don't wanna say he's, like, the doomsday he's the realist. Like, every relationship needs one person that's the realist and the planner, and the other person needs to be like, "Alright, it's gonna be fine." And I'm always the, like, "It will work out fine."
Yeah.
And 90% of the time it does, and 10% of the time we're eating at 7-Eleven in Japan. It's fine.
Yeah, but, it worked out, and the kids have great memories of eating at 7-Eleven Japan, like, every day, you know?
My husband may have liked a better dinner, but I mean, the Spam Subies were less than $1 and the smoothies are 40 cents, so I really feel like you can't beat that.
So, with all of these, like, travel, I wouldn't say nightmares because I feel like they turned out exactly the way they were supposed to. But being an OB, do you ever run into any, like, OB situations where you're, like, in the middle of your travel and you're like, "What have I got myself into?" And
No, I really wish, like, every day when they, like and it always happens that we're on a flight, and I don't know if it happens to you, Courtney, there's always, like, an overhead page for, like, a physician. There's always a medical emergency on every flight we're on for whatever reason. It is never a pregnant woman or someone vaginally bleeding, like, nothing that I can do anything. I'm like, "Is it a woman? Does she happen to be with child? Because I am ready." I am, like, ready to go. I feel like it would be, like, a great situation, it would be an amazing birth, like, I pray one day to deliver a baby on an airplane and have an amazing experience. But no, it's usually someone with chest pain, and then my husband goes and, like, I don't know, does his primary care thing, and then he gets a letter from the airline thanking him and, like, a box of cookies.
you're like, "Well, just be glad." I'm like, I delivered a baby, like, in a parking lot in a truck once.
Did you really?
Yeah, which was like yeah.
How does that happen to you and not me?
Yeah, I don't know, and I was like and I just started a new job and, I get calls and all the other docs are, like, running around somewhere, so I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go outside, I don't really know what's going on, but they're grabbing me, so I'm going anyway," and the lady was literally in the truck, and, like, baby was, like, coming out so baby basically delivered itself, and I just happened to catch it and clamp. So everything all worked out, and then the people who needed to be there came and, took her back inside, but I can't imagine doing that on a plane.
You have such a better story than me. No. I mean, I've delivered babies in toilets, but they've been, like, in the hospital in triage, like
In the toilet?
yeah, I mean, well, they come in and they, like, say that they're not in labor or I don't know what's happening, like, when I used to cover labor shifts, and then the nurse will let them go to the bathroom. Like, the rule is always if someone says they have to poop and they're pregnant, like, we should not let them go to the bathroom because it's not usually poop. And so that's happened to me several times. They're like, "They went in there to poop and now they're screaming," and I, like, run in there and there's a baby coming out, but we're in the hospital. So it's like I mean, I'm an OB. I feel like we love and that's probably why I like my travel craziness because, like, we live for drama. Like, we like it. But I think emergency physicians are the same. Like, you guys like it too. We don't like boring. We like fun and exciting and things are always changing.
Yeah, I think I like fun and exciting more so on vacation than I do than I do work in the hospital these days, especially since it's usually not like a baby coming out, it's like someone's who's like, at death's door.
Yeah, yours is not as exciting, so, I mean, I do apologize. I do feel like the land of OB is much happier, right? Like, people wanna be there usually.
Yeah, it's happy.
Yeah, like, we're delivering good things, like, yeah, you're like yeah, yours is not always great news, sorry.
Yeah, delivering good things. I like that, I like that. Yeah, sometimes I mean, I guess sometimes we deliver good things. Most of the time, I hope that we're not delivering good things and that those good things get to you, and don't show up especially in the freestanding emergency room, which is not unheard of.
I know.
I'll leave the good things to you. So what are some things that people should not do so that way they don't end up in labor on a plane? Pregnancy tips for people who are
I mean, yes, probably we recommend not traveling after 34 weeks, unless you wanna take me with you. Yeah, I mean, we usually tell people to stay pretty close to home after 34 weeks just because you can go into labor. Usually if you're pregnant, like, I also recommend traveling with your records just in case something were to happen. You will see, I mean, you probably saw Courtney too, a lot of pregnant people in Hawaii. Like, I do feel like it's a popular destination because they have amazing healthcare there. They have great hospitals. It's a very safe place to travel. So I usually recommend, like, hey, if you're pregnant, like, probably don't go to Belize or Brazil or Tahiti. Like, I would probably stick somewhere domestic with good healthcare just so you know, like, hey, you can get treated. Your insurance hopefully will work. And if there's an emergency, they can handle it. I still, like, give all the precautions, like, don't do anything crazy and adventurous when you're pregnant. So, I mean, laying by the beach reading a good book is fine, going for, like, a hike with you water and, like, accessibility to a phone with service. But using your mosquito repellent, wearing long sleeves, Zika's still a thing. So, I mean, I feel like travel is very doable when you're pregnant. I feel like second trimester travel was the best travel because, like, you yet don't have an infant, so you have time and you can sleep when you wanna sleep and you can do the things you wanna do. You just can't have as many, obviously. Your margaritas are no virgin, but beyond that, like, it's still pretty good travel time. I feel like once you get into third trimester anyways, you're pretty uncomfy. I was just exhausted, I had heartburn, like, I don't think sitting in a plane for 8 hours would have been enjoyable. I wouldn't have wanted to get a blood clot, so, no. I say second trimester, that's the time to travel. It's a good time. My friend just actually one of the doctors we work with, she just came back from her baby moon in Hawaii, so
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember mentioning, Hawaii is probably a good place to go if you're pregnant and you want a baby moon, and people were like, "Don't, nope, don't go to Hawaii, don't go to Hawaii," and I was like, "Okay, sorry for suggesting that." So, it's good to hear that there is a contrasting opinion and that Hawaii is not necessarily an unsafe place to go.
do you think, like, the people that we say no, is it, like, the physicians that work there and they're just sick of taking care of people that are not theirs?
And that's what I wondered.
Yeah, I kinda think that too because I'm like, I feel like you have resources and it's good healthcare, but they must get a lot of people that are like essentially no doctor, like their doctor doesn't go there. And so I guess like if I was up at Centennial, which is where I work, and all these people came in all the time, I'd be like, why are you traveling to Centennial? Travel to Summerlin is so much better.
And I feel that way too because I'm on the Strip, and so we get a lot of patients who are, like, traveling, and they come in, and there's no resource. There's no OB there. There's me and maybe 2 nurses. Like, that's what you get. So, when you come in and you're like, "I'm thinking I'm having contractions," I'm like, "This is not the place you wanna be, but let me see how if I can help get you to where you can go and, get some help."
And who wants to do a baby moon in Vegas? Like I just feel like most of the Vegas opportunities, like or travel things are not like fun pregnancy things.
Yeah, I wouldn't wanna waddle down the street in 100-degree weather.
Oh, and like be in a smoke-filled casino and like clubbing and drinking and yeah, I don't know.
I guess if you had your, like, $200 Fine Hotels and Resorts credit from Amex and you wanted to stay at the Waldorf and, get a massage, or I guess you can't even get a massage.
True, that's true. There are some nice properties. Like, there are some great spas. Like, it would be a good spa vacation. That's true.
So, what advice would you give to other physicians or anyone who's, professional or has a busy job or a small business owner, and they wanna be able to travel more, they wanna be able to live, through some of the things that you've, shared with us, but they're afraid for whatever reason, like, there is either the responsibility of, like, "Hey, I'm running this practice and there's no one to cover for me," or, "I don't have enough income at this time to be able to travel." Like, what advice would you give to people who are, for whatever reason, deciding that this is not the time to travel?
I think there is a little bit of fear that goes into it. My husband struggles with it a little bit more. Obviously, I can let go of things a little bit easier. Um, I think that, like, I would just say go for it, right? Like, cost-wise, like, put all your expenses on a good credit card. Like, listen to Courtney. She has some really good recommendations for business cards. Like, those are the ones that we use. And it really has made a huge difference with points. Like, I mean, because business purchases, like, we spend so much money on business expenses a month. So to be able to redeem that back as travel, like, it allows me to justify it at least. Like, okay, I'm going to take a week off of work. Maybe we won't be profitable during that week. But like that money that I'm losing, I have now saved on travel. Like I'm not spending money because it's money that we were spending anyways, if that makes sense. Because we had to buy supplies for the office. I had to pay for like medical supplies, office supplies, all those things. I had to pay for them regardless. And now I get free travel out of it. So I would say first, prioritize your cards, prioritize your spend. And I think that will allow you hopefully to justify it a little bit better. But I think for me, the second biggest thing is just having someone reliable back home that you can trust, that you know will take care of your business while you are gone. Like, and if like my husband, like he does a direct primary care visit, so it's kind of like he's a one-man show. So I feel like for him, it's a little bit different. So we like a priority for him is we always travel somewhere with like good internet or good cell phone connection, because that way he can still reach his patients, he can still connect with them, and he can still treat them remotely. So I think you just have to figure out, like, for your business specifically, like, what does that look like for you? So for me as an OB, like, people have to be here to deliver babies. So I have to find reliable partners that I can trust that can kind of take the load off of me while I'm gone. For my husband, it was like, hey, I don't really feel comfortable giving that load to anybody. Like, he does have that option, and we've talked about it before, like physician assistants, having other physicians cover him. We have a good friend that does the same thing that he does. And like a lot of times, like they'll kind of cross cover if there's like an emergency where a patient would need to be seen in the office. But for him, it's really important to stay in touch with his patients. And so I have to be flexible and say, hey, okay, that's your priority. So like we need to make that work for both of us. And so like I've just, done a good job like looking, okay, like where are we traveling to? Making sure before I book anything, like is there Wi-Fi, is there cell service, like calling T-Mobile, like making sure we have service wherever we're gonna be. And so that works for us. But I would just say just prioritize the time. Like work is always gonna be there. Work is gonna be there when we get back. I love my patients, I love my job, but I love my family. And I feel like this time with them is like when we're on vacation, it's really this one-on-one dedicated time. Like we're eating together, my children are little, we're like sleeping together essentially. Like we do everything together. When we're at home, like I know school has started, sports have started. Like I leave at 7 a.m. I see my kids in the morning, but then I'm like picking up one child. Like we got home last night at 9. And so like you just like we don't have this time together because it's drop off, pick up, dinner, clean. You know what I mean? Like it's not meaningful time. And so even though we might all be together in the car driving to a sport, it's not the same. And so that's what I love like about Hawaii and not having plans is like, hey, like what beach should we check out today? Like let's all build a castle together. Like let's swim together. Like really trying to be present together has been a big priority, which is why like we now have started leaving the technology at home, which has been a blessing and a curse.
How does that go?
Honestly, I thought it was going to be like all the things I thought were going to be really difficult weren't. Like, we're like, what are they going to do on the airplane? What are they going to do on the long car rides? Like, this summer, we went to Boston for a competition. Drove to Cape Cod. We drove to Rhode Island. And so there was a lot of like commuting that was happening. Um, what are they going to do when I have to work or I have to do something? Or like, I want 5 minutes to myself. I want to read a book. Like, how is that going to look like? And so I felt like it was a little bit more planning, but like they brought books. They actually read books, which is great because they like to read. They just don't. If it's like book or an iPad, they choose an iPad. We bought a bunch of little mini games. Like we were in the Century Lounge playing Uno. And it was fun. I feel like I'm more present with my kids because if they're on their tablets, I'm on my phone, right? Like we're not really connecting. We're just like sitting next to each other on our tablets, which I just don't love. And they do fine, and they're actually better, nicer children, at least my children. Like, my son especially, like, he gets a little bit of a toot when he's on the iPad too long, and it shows, and, like, he's just not as nice as he normally is, and so when he's not on his tablet, I feel bad. Like, I feel bad because he wants to be, and his friends are on it, and they're all playing games together, and he's missing out. But, like, I don't know, do your kids play Grow Garden? Like, Grow Garden's a Roblox game, like, where they, like, grow.
Probably, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, they, like, grow a fake garden. Yes. So, like, we were in Boston, and they were growing a real garden. Like, we went behind our hotel, and they were digging holes and growing a garden. But I was like, "See? Like, it's fun." And then they wanna do things, and they're involved in the planning. Like, otherwise, they're like, "How much longer, mom? Can we go back to the hotel? I'm tired." Like, "What? You, like, don't want an ATV through the rainforest? Like, what are you talking about?" Like,
So you found that you got a little bit less of that without them having, like, the screens back at the hotel?
way less. Yeah, like, way less. So if, like, we eliminate the screens, like, we brought them to Kauai because, like, needed time in the morning, was on telemed, and, like, my husband had left because he had to come back to work, so it was just me and the kids for a week. So I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna let you have screen time while I do my telemed till 11 a.m. and then no screens after." I feel like I could have gotten away without doing that. Like, and that was the one time because when we went like Japan, the tablets were gone the entire time. We went to Minnesota, we didn't even bring them. We went to Boston, they stayed home. And so, like all of our travel, like since then, tablets have been at home, and it's been fantastic.
Well, maybe we should try that. I know, like, since school has restarted, we've definitely toned down on, like, the restrictions. Usually during the week, I'll give them an hour, and I'm pretty sure that they were doing more than that. And then we came home, and then we actually put, like, set a timer on there so it'll actually shut off. And then we were like, "Not sure how this is gonna go," but then we look up and I'm like, "Look, they're doing art projects." And, like, every time I look up, they're in a car with a book because they know, like, I'm not gonna use my hour of iPad time because I'm actually gonna, like, do something else. And, like, car has gone through, like, 3 or 4 books in the past week. So I'm like, "Oh." But I hadn't thought about, like, the idea of traveling without the actual tablets and seeing how that works. So
They did great, like, on the airplane, like, I mean, like, most of them have TV screens, so they watch movies, but, like, we had one airplane that didn't have a TV screen, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be rough," but, like, they read, and then they slept, so when we got to our destination, they were rested and, like, ready to go do things, like, we got to Japan, they were, like, ready to go, like, they hit the ground running, and the other times we've traveled with iPads, they, like, will stay awake on their iPad for 8 hours straight on a flight and then get there and be exhausted.
yeah. Well, I think our next trip, they'll be going without the iPads, or at least I'll put them in my bag and see how it goes, at least make them think that they don't have them, and
You just leave them, like, 100% leave them, like, I was terrified, but I think also we should just travel with together because if you travel with friends or family and there's gonna be other kids there, like, they definitely don't need them.
be fine. Okay, well, we'll have to talk about our summer plans because we don't have any yet, and I am trying to figure out what to do.
That oh my gosh, if you're on summer I mean, like, we can talk about October plans.
I don't have anything for October either, so, yeah, let's chat for sure. I think actually what I wanted to end on is because you mentioned as a small business, you're able you're buying supplies and you're using your credit card points. What credit cards are in your personal wallet, and what credit cards are you actually using for your business?
So, I have, like, the Amex Centurion card, or the is it that what it's called? What the big one? See, you know my credit cards more than I know, because 'cause you're like, "Get that one."
Get that one.
Courtney is great. When you see these big, like, get $200,000 points for signing up, that is the time to get them. So that's when we got our points. For work, I use, like, the Chase Sapphire, I believe, and I should have pulled these out and have them ready. Some of the purchases are on an Amex, it depends. There are some things that have better point values, so some things we do split. I do think there's a lot, though, that goes on, like, my Chase. And part of it makes it easier, like, I wish there are ways to be better, like, I know people will go to, like, Office Max and buy gift cards and, like, put all their purchases on these gift cards because you get, like, 4 times back points for gift cards. Realistically, I'm just too busy, and it's really hard now that my business has grown so much to, like, manage too many credit cards. So, like, I found the one that worked the best for us, which was the Chase Sapphire, and that gave us a lot of, like, point option redemption options and, like, transfer options or the Amex. So we do just use those 2. Like, my husband, since it's just him, he can be a little bit more selective, like, "Okay, I'm gonna purchase this or I'm gonna purchase that." But realistically, like, day to day, I'm not doing most of my purchasing anymore, like, I have an office manager and other staff that purchase, and then we have to pay all the cards off, so it gets a little bit complicated, so simplifying it for us was better. But you would definitely be the person to ask, like, what cards are better for, like, exactly what categories, because I could be better at that for sure.
Yeah, no, and I think as a business, you already have so many expenses anyway, so you don't like, optimizing is just, again, getting a card that you or your partners can agree on and using the card that's best for, like, being able to split your expenses. And so, are you and the partners sharing the points, or how does that work?
So that also worked out in my match. So my company, like, I had opened it. It was my company. I had gotten the cards before he had joined. He is the one and only partner. Everyone else is employed. But I had asked him about, like, hey, like, let's be fair. Like, we're obviously purchasing all this stuff for our clinic. We both pay the expenses. Like, it comes out of our money. How do you want to split the points? But as you can tell, like, as unorganized as I am, I'm also like the weirdly control freak of everything. So I do, like, all the clinic scheduling. I do most of, like, the management. Like, he's great clinically. So, like, if there is an emergency on labor and delivery, one of our surgeons needs backup help, he is there and he is rock solid. If it's like, hey, like, employee X is fighting with employee Y and, like, something needs to go to HR, or, like, we need to hire 5 more MAs and interview them, or I need to make a rotating call schedule, like, all of that usually falls on my plate. And he volunteers to do it. I just have a really hard time giving up ownership. But what that has rewarded me with is he has let me keep the points because we divide our income the same. And so my reward for taking on administration stuff is travel points.
Oh, well, good for you.
So hopefully he doesn't listen to this podcast because then he'll see all the travel I'm doing with them and he might want to reconsider that offer. He might start doing scheduling.
He'll start, breaking up disagreements, yeah.
He's gonna be like, let me do the scheduling and keep the points from now on.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, and I think a lot of times people are intimidated by, like, being able to spend the points anyway. Like, how long did you sit on your points before you got up, to actually do some?
Oh my gosh, until we ran into you at the party randomly and discovered, your long lost connection with Joe. I mean, and you're like, "How many points do you have?" And I was like, "Millions." Like, I had millions of points, millions, like, plural, because I was so afraid to use them and I didn't wanna waste them. I didn't wanna, like, redeem them on Amazon, which is a waste, or, like, buy crappy travel with them. Like, I wanted them to count because I do follow your blogs and I do follow all these other ones and see all these amazing redemptions. So I feel like connecting with someone like you was extremely helpful because you helped lead me where I was astray and, like, gave me the courage to pull the trigger, which, like, I've now booked a few things without you, Courtney, so I think you'd be proud. But I do feel like I always consult you and be like, "Is this still a good option?"
I'm excited. Even if you're not consulting me, I'm just, like, excited to know that people are, like, listening and that they, like, realize, like, the power of, like, the points, the financial power that lies in those points that are just sitting there, the bank account. And it goes beyond just being able to buy gift cards or, making your purchases on Amazon. So kudos to you for, taking the initiative and actually booking those trips and making your, travel budget stretch a little bit more.
Oh, a lot more. I mean, you've doubled our travel. Like, Joe and I were just talking about it before we started using points. Because we've really started, I think it's been the last year or two. And like before we like travel, but we would do maybe like 2 or 3 trips a year, like bigger trips, which is, I still feel like a great amount. And now, like this past 2 years, like we have traveled at least every other month. So I thank you and their credit cards for that.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm excited to continue on with your travels, and hopefully we'll link up this summer or October and book a trip, and excited to, see where things go, so and excited to see your puppy.
Oh yeah, sorry. Like I try to escape and go somewhere quiet, and like that's just really hard in this house of 5 people and 2 dogs.
That's okay, just bring him on. He can come say hi too. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I think so many people are gonna get so much out of this. I just love hearing how you were able to balance all the things, practice owner and motherhood and all the moving pieces that it takes to, just function. Yeah, I told you, I think you're thriving. You don't think you are, but like you are like you're doing all the things. So
Well, thank you. Like I said, yeah, I mean, sometimes it feels just like survival, but honestly, like it feels kind of rotten taking all the credit because I really like I feel like the name of the game is just outsourcing. And like I think as a woman, especially as a physician, but like even like just as a mom, like you just have to realize you can't do it all. And it's unfair to compare yourself to these people that like seem like they're doing it all. And so, like, for me, it's been a game changer just being able to, like, say, "No, I can't do it." Whether that's, like, me paying for help, but even, like, recently, like, we hosted people over and they're like, "What can I bring?" And normally I would say, "Nothing." And I was like, "Do you wanna bring the salad?" Like, I just feel like as women, like, it's nice to come together and have, like, support and know, like, "Hey, it's okay to say you can't do it all," and that's okay.
that's okay. It's more than okay. I think it's needed. And so even though you downplay yourself so much, but the fact that you're able to outsource and to realize that, hey, I need help and I can do all of these things better if I had, different resources. Because a lot of times I think you have to do the work within yourself to know that, hey, I can outsource these things.
Yeah. No, for sure.
You have to know that, like, it's okay. You don't have to do the laundry. You don't have to be there to, like, get the kids ready to go to school, in the morning. Like, I'm there, but I need to be present here.
Yeah, like, it's hard, like, you feel guilty about some things, but, like, for my daughter, like, I asked her, like, "What do you like spending time with me the most?" And she's like, "When you do my hair." And so, like, I'll do her hair in the morning, or my oldest daughter, like, if she wants me to do her hair too, I will. But that's, like, our time, and then, like, she goes downstairs and, like, the packing of the lunch, the feeding of the breakfast, like, that part wasn't as important to her because it was so rushed when I was doing it anyways. But that way I can spend, like, a good 10 minutes, and we'll talk about the day and, like, whatever's gonna happen, like, as I braid her hair, whatever hairstyle she chooses, right now it's K-pop Demon Hunter, so we're doing a lot of rooming hair in our house.
Well, I'm like, we do the same thing, though. Initially, Chris, his schedule is a little more rigid. I'm kinda like you. I'm, like, all over the place. Some days I leave at, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Some days I'm leaving, 5 in the morning. And his schedule, he goes to work every day, 9 to 5. And it's hard for him to get out of the door if he has to get the kids ready. So when I'm home on the days off, I get the kids ready. When I'm working, my sister comes over, makes sure she get the kids ready to go to school. And it makes things easier because then he doesn't have to feel stressed and like, you know, with all the things that go on with the morning routine right before he gets into, whatever chaos he's going to uh, into as a hospitalist at the hospital. So but it took him saying, "I need help," for me to be like, "Well, why can't you just do this yourself?" And I think that was selfish on my part because, I wasn't the one who was having to deal with it. And so I appreciate that he was able to say, "I can't do this and get to work and be able to function and have a good day if this is how my morning's gonna start." and then we were able to, outsource those things.
Yeah, it sets you up. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, you're just cranky and I mean, I'll be honest, like, your husband's fantastic, my husband's fantastic. They just are not born with a multitasking brain. Like, they just can't handle things that go astray. Like, it's just too much for them in the morning. They need their mornings to be routine. They're happy. If they're happy, the kids are happy, I'm happy. Like, the world's just a happier place. Like,
Everybody wins.
yeah. Could our husbands get the kids ready? Absolutely, they could. But, like, at what expense? It's not worth it.
It's not worth it. No. So yeah, so I think the most important thing that you've mentioned here is that it's important to outsource and to have help and not try to do everything yourself.
100% no.
So if you got nothing else from this conversation, don't do everything yourself.
And it's okay, and that's fine. It doesn't make you less of a mom.
It absolutely doesn't, right, right, and so I really hope that this conversation today just really just inspired you to make time for yourself and to make space for travel in your own busy lives, and if you were encouraged by this, make sure that you share this episode with a friend. Leave us a review, subscribe so that you don't miss an episode, you won't miss what's coming up next, and if you're ready to take your travel further using your points and miles, don't forget that you can reach out to me and get a free credit card consultation, or you can schedule a discovery call. We can set up an award booking strategy consultation at www.prescriptiontotravelmd.com. Heather is a testament of the power of points and the power of being able to just spend time with your family and make time for yourself if you make it a priority. So until next time, make sure that you're earning those points and booking those trips. See you again soon.